My Ritz, me, Lord L, Brother L, Broke out L, Apocalypse Now. Yeah, real. This is we. And GCP inspired me for real. Yeah. Tick, 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 booyah. With this grit, get flipped straight to no more crawling, no more screw Who was the amnesty of aid? Now me, I'm mine. God of my chest, I'm Lord of the mind that I government. Stand with the spider, 100 men. At the front line, stand 90 degrees. No fear for machine car. Man is supreme, cause we come again, so you on your knees. That I recommend that things be revealed. Don't try at the end, cause we got no beginning but the moment. She not from here, baby. Check the moon or the moon or the sun. How about all of the above? Tick, 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 booyah. Time for we, booyah. Yeah, I been singing from a prodigy to other me's, cause of them, now I gotta be solidly. And I represent right, moving lips. Fool everybody but the Moors, we made you, son. I'm a star too, forward of the L, right? Length with height, home is the base, reach safe, bring your light. Runway the night, true circle the 7. Don't know, better start soon. Can't keep it real when your life in the cartoon. Everything came free, but nigga, it'll cost you. Escape with your nation and stay stateless. 14th Amendment, pointless to argue. Time ticks down, you're getting mistreated. Fully mistreated, though steady, just breathing, not grown, just bleaching. What's on with up, rooms? Wake up. Tick, tick, booyah. With this brick, get flipped straight booyah. No more crawling, no more shoot up. What? Amnesty of age.
Backing up thoughts with cards, national. In Northwest, some Maxim Ottawa's not my capital. Fence like a Merlin hat, I stay magical. Stand on your birthright square, they label you radical. Flow like libations, every day it's sabbatical. I self-law and master science mathematical. It's tragical, dramatical. This Moorish Othello, I rather black on black, I don't do black and yellow. Compass and square, fair trap, Masonic fellows and matrons. Slew them not just sodomites and pagans. Most maroons need to stop saying Jamaican and calling Euros American. They are Caucasian.
Me, I'm a 9. Try to make a 7 here. Try to make a heaven here. Living in the devil's lair. Freedom is a mental clear. Color is a spectrum. Don't you see through spares? Tell them mine is a bridge program over there. In the spell with the magi. Media. Playing good, but they really the bad guys. Feeling them. I'm reeling them. Cause I'm Moorish American, this is our land, and that's why we inherited. Tick, 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 booyah. With this brick, get flipped straight to no more pros, no more shoot ups. What? Yo. Yeah, it's me, Mr. L, Mr. Bro, Lord, Raw, Gal L. Apocalypse Now. Watch the time tick, tick, then tick.
We are live here at the Moorish have returned. Sir, do you have anything to say about this matter?
Yeah, love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice.
Yep. Sir, what do you have to say?
I just want to put it on the record. I'm not like, yeah, what he said. Moorish life matters.
More lives matter. It seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter. Shot in the back, running or choked out to death on the corners. Mistakes that stays before inside him, says the coroner. To the yellow journalist that won awards for writing facts. For World Wide Web press stories, always calling them black. Civil rights violated, here comes C1-7. And CIA and FBI agent, brethren felons with what Big Brother once heard. Most Moors are nerds and study more than if I'm on the road, no biting curbs. Professor Mooses are fighting for survival. Making Moors martyrs won't happen, calling us Captain Rival. survival. Inquisitionist governors and secretaries of state got stateless on their tables like ribeye steak with no care, blood dripping. They eat blacks rare. Foreigners wearing 6-point badges, pretending they're heirs to the vastness of state Kudri Balaksa. Stainless blood flow past a horse's brow, I swear it's agua. Demons thirst quench, stealing pioneers and organs. Psychiatry, death industry, to start selling black orphans and half-closed coffins, cause legs are missing, killing stateless people, cancer won't even see remission. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
System, what system? Not gonna make myself no victim. Run down and kick them up, educate oneself and flip them. All of the titles of nationality strips them. Must grip reality in order to really grip them in this third dimensional illusion. Organized chaos, confusion, stealing your attention. Mental intrusion, universal laws, declaration of the ancients. I self-law and master from the rooftops to the basements. Hook deep to the spaceship, ever since all creations. Celestial foundations, ocean floor to the ranges, to the mountain tip, to the cosmic infinite. Basically, we are way above the shit. In other words, get in tune with spirit. Take a breath and accept. Mental polarity, gender, rhythm, correspondence, vibration, cause and effect.
More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter.
More lives matter cause I sing it no sound of. It gets defected when projected from your last law. If my perspective on direct you to replay. All the rules that I'm replay until they want to cast off. Bury them on to the next one. Enough of them are running down. Use them a cash cross. Can't believe I told me that. Can't believe I Tosh Cross. Trayvon, Michael Brown, died for us to find cars. The afterlife visited the class brawl. Who they really want to see with the crown on high and the guards on free? I am free and you know business but your land or your country to seek your inalienable rights. The insatiable delight of knowing thyself and bringing all injustice to light. But the fight is your plight, make your sight for the bright. I'm the mic in the night. Foresight for you to realize that, huh?
More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. More lives matter, cause it seems like black lives don't matter. Islam, Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors worldwide. We want to say honors to all for being here today for another one, Canaanland Moors. So we're just gonna, have a little build, carry on the build from earlier. Islam Moor.
Islam, big bro.
Let me just get myself situated here. Yes, brother C.W. Bay.
Yes, sir.
Last we spoke, we didn't get to go into everything that we wanted to talk about, but one thing I wanted you to talk about was the perspective of what you have to go through if you're really about saying you're a Moor, based on your experience.
Well, you have to stand on it. It's just like anything else that you believe in. You know what I'm saying? That's like if you go buy a car from a dude, you're gonna get this dude 5,000 fiat notes, and he sold you a car with a blow engine. You're not just gonna turn on. He say, "Oh, nothing's wrong with the engine." You know, he try to make it seem like it's your fault. You're gonna stand on what you know, and you can only prove what you know by studying and by knowing about cars. You know, that's an analogy that I can give you on that. Because anybody that's trying to dupe you or try to pull one over on you, he's going to be very adamant about his position. So you got to be very adamant about yours. You know, they're going to try, and they're going to test you and until you give up. And if you don't give up, eventually somebody got to give up in the argument. Or we're going to argue until both of us can't argue no more. But that's when you got to come in with what you know, by knowing the law and by knowing yourself and by being educated about what's going on, because they're going to try to see how much that you know. And like you said earlier, with the acquiescence, if they don't deny what you're saying, then it's true, it's law, it's fact. Mm-hmm. So until you tell me something different, or until you tell me I'm wrong, then I know I'm right. So, like I say, for me to be in front of 5 different judges and not one judge told me I was wrong, and even one judge, like I told you earlier, one judge got up and walked out the courtroom on me.
No, okay, let's do this. Let's what was the response from all the judges? It was 5 of them, you said?
Yeah, I went in front of 5 different judges. My first judge, she got him and walked out the courtroom on me because I fired my attorney. Me and him got into it. I'm arguing with him because he's trying to basically swap me out. Even though all judicial officers, which are lawyers, bailiffs, security officers, police officers, judges, representatives, senators, governors, all are bound by oath to uphold the Constitution, United States Constitution, over any state law or any state constitution. They are bound by oath to uphold that. And I'm expressing that to him, and they supposed to uphold your rights, but it's a swap out game. So me and him got into an open court, and then he came back and he reneged on my case, and the judge asked me why. I told him I was going to fire him and whatever the case may be, and I proceeded to put my status on the record. So in the midst of me doing that, these people have a godlike mentality, like what they say go, and they come so accustomed to not being challenged that when you challenge them, they feel disrespected, or they feel like you're challenging their intellect because they look at you like you're an imbecile. You're not supposed to know anything. What we say go. So, one got up and walked out of the courtroom on me. Another one, he was saying, thank God that we have rights in this country. So in so many words, he was hitting on like, you have rights. You just got to stand on them. You have, they're not going to go against the bar association, but you might find a couple of them that are really good people. Mm-hmm. But they're not going to put their livelihood for you. But he might hit on you like, it's thank God we have rights. This is when I had to file my own motion to self-present myself, because once my attorney discharged himself off my case and I got rid of him, they tried to put a lawyer on my case. Right. And I told him I didn't want no lawyer. That's why you have to understand the rules of court of whatever state that you're in, because it's simple to write a motion. It's just like writing a letter. You just tell them this is what the problem is. This is what your book said. And this is what you should do. Right. So I did that, and the guy was like, you have the right to self-present yourself. That's in the rule book. I think it's Florida Rules of Court 3.131, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. It's been a while.
Now let me put this out there too, as another means of figuring out what's actually going on, right? Why there's certain responses from them. Right, I'm just going to put this up on this share right now, just to go over, because you mentioned motions. Right. So we're just going to go to our favorite website in the world, rvbaypublications.com. Right. And this is under the Writs of Freedom tab. So under the Writs of Freedom tab, we go down to motions versus affidavits, right? It is ultra important to understand that you must head everything you submit in writing with affidavit of fact, because they can and they do deny a motion, as motions are discretionary and applicable to colorable courts, ordinances, statutes, and codes, but not to law. Furthermore, It applies to corporate or colorable people because it is a discretionary action that can be and usually is denied, denied, denied. Note, as in a meeting, a motion requires a second and can be denied without even being looked at, as these lower courts often do. An affidavit of fact cannot lawfully be denied and must be visited and either answered or rebutted, otherwise it stands as truth, or it requires an answer by the court. It created an injunction, and the court cannot lawfully move forward until answered. If not answered, the matter must be dismissed due to lack of due process of law, lack of prosecution. Right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because when I filed the writ of prohibition, mind you, I'm not a scholar in this. I'm just like the average person that read up on something, and I'm just saying this for everybody else.
Right.
And I just went off what I believed in. So I filed a writ of prohibition, and just like you said, the court cannot move on until they answer that. And mind you, I filed that writ in August.
Hold on, they're playing with the stream. I can't hear you. Hold on.
2019. They didn't answer that writ until February 2020.
Yeah, I think they're messing with your stream right now. Your because I'm not hearing you.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, we're not hearing you. Just all right, you got you.
You got me now?
You hear me? Yeah, I'm hearing you. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead again.
Like what you just said, what you just read off RBB, that remind me of the writ of prohibition that I filed. I filed that writ in August, and I got mad with my lawyer because he wasn't arguing. Is this the reason why I did not got rid of him and filed it myself? Man, like I said, I'm an average individual. I've never been in law school, So
right.
You have to learn law. When you say I self-law and master, you better recognize and believe what you're saying is that you must be the master of self, meaning know thyself and know thy law. And without that, you're incompetent. And I can still say at that time I was very incompetent. And I don't have a problem with saying that because as you learn, you grow. As you grow, you learn. So exactly like what you just read is that they couldn't move forward. It took them 6 to 7 months to file a response to my writ, and they violated almost every constitutional right when they wrote their opinion or their response. And that's when I got into a verbal conversation with this other judge about that, because as I'm reading that, I'm telling her you're about which. And also another thing is that one judge told me, the same guy just told me, no, there's going to be an appeal on this. Appeal means you're going to have to go to the higher court. So in so many words, like I told you, they're going to tell you, but they're not going to tell you. So the lower courts, which they are going to try to deny you all your rights and then make you go through the process of going to the appeal and going through their process because they're trying to get their money, which is understandable, or their Federal Reserve or their convictions. But to be on point, and you have to know what you're saying because they're going to challenge you. I'm telling you this. Oh, you can't be fearful. I was fearful. I was scared, but you have the law. And the videos and the things that you're watching, what you're reading is true. It is fact. I have tried it. I have tested it, and I'm still going through it. Like I told you, I went in front of 5 different judges, and they never told me I was wrong. It just your paperwork must precede you, and you have to initiate that at the beginning because once you start the wheels of their movement or their process, it's very hard to try to wiggle out their little well.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going through right now. I'm wiggling out the well, which, I'm not upset about going through because I'm learning from self-experiences. And if you are fearful, you just, this ain't a place for fear. You just have to go out there and fight.
How's the, because one of the things that I think a lot of people who have, quote unquote, gone through the system, the advantage they have is that the no fear perspective, because You already been inside the house.
Yeah.
You already been behind the gate, and that's not the worst of it. If they want to play, you know what I mean, torture games, that's you're home there. So talk about overcoming the fear, like these things, whether it's talking to a highwayman, whether it's, you know what I mean, standing on the square saying something because of at a store, or even just building with your homeboys or your family, and you have to get over the fear of bringing this thing up that you know nobody wants to talk about or whatever. Just talk about getting over the fear.
Well, the first thing, you have to be assured in self. If you're not sure of who you are and what you are and what you believe in, then I'm gonna be honest with you. You might well, this movement is not for you. If you're not willing to do your due diligence, you're not willing to read and study and stand on what you're reading and what you're studying, to believe in yourself and be able to speak up, this movement is not for you. Mind you, I've been in the system since I've been 11 years old. So their fear tactic of trying to put me in jail is not something that I'm afraid of, because I done been in and out of jail. I done been kidnapped 4, 5, 6 years at a time and incarcerated. I even gave back some time, like I was telling to you earlier. But with the highway, everything is intimidation. That's even with your love spouse or manipulation. Like with you in a relationship with your other being. I don't believe into the same sex thing, but each his own. Your wife is going to try to intimidate you or manipulate you. Same thing with your husband. He's going to try to make you do something he wants you to do, either by force or by manipulation. So you already got to have it in your mindset that the person is trying to get whatever they can out of you. First of all, no matter what the situation is, that highwayman, once he pull you, he going to try to see what you know, to try to get you that ticket, because he got a quarter he got to meet to his boss to say he issued out this many tickets. It's the same exact thing when you go to the courthouse. Every judge has a boss judge that they have to report to every 60 days. So you won't know this unless you read the rules of court. That's why you got to know self-law and master. You got to know that they have a boss they have to answer to too. You know what I'm saying? So once you understand that it doesn't stop with them, that's just a starting point, then the fear should already be gone, because they only do to you what you do not know. Once you know what they can and cannot do, like I was telling you earlier, the judge told me that's the last time I'm going to tell her what to do, because I was expressing and exercising my constitutional right.
Yeah.
But you bound by oath to support this. So, once you know what you know, fear should be going out the window. And then sometimes you got to understand, like when we was all kids and we had to fight that bully, you're going to get tired of people picking on you, or they're going to keep picking on you and taking your lunch money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Straight.
Yeah, it just is what it is. But the only way you're going to overcome that is educate yourself, man. Like we were talking earlier about, the rioting and the looting, whatever the case may be. Oh, that's fine and dandy. Yeah, if you get some type of remedy solved, but you really hurt them on paper, because you can use once you go into that court alone, we get cases won as a nation of people. We can use those for eons and eternities. Canaanland Moorish versus the United States government. You know what I'm saying? Temple. Whatever temple that you have, Temple 45 of Miami-Dade County versus the state of Florida. Yeah. Once we start getting those case laws up and running, those are reference points. But based on this case, this judge ruled on this favor of Miami-Dade Temple. That's why the pen is so mighty at the sword. Okay, yeah, we go and burn down everything, but you understand why we burning down our own land.
Right.
Why we burning down our own buildings.
Yeah, that's the part. That's the problem.
That's the problem. Okay, let's do this. Let's claim that land, evict that individual out that land, because it don't belong to him anyway, because it's fraud how you got it, because banks can't own property. But everything that you get is through a bank. So those are fraudulent contracts that you're signing up for, but they hold really no value. And then you also understand that all of them work for the same corporation. Like I would tell you about that Respublica case. In 1779, the United States was incorporated as a corporation. The United States been here, the United People, because that's all states really are, people, the United People of America. And the only reason why we was united, because we was fighting with them, the British and their Europeans that came over here. We were fighting them from taking over our land. So we came into treaty agreements saying, okay, when you come on this side of the land, we're not going to do this to you. And when we go to your side of the land, you're not going to do anything to us. But black people don't come up under that treaty, under that agreement. It's, it's a lot of treaties, but it's really that simple. We just making things more complex than what it is.
Making things hard, yep.
Yeah. And the only way you're going to know this is studying. Like I said, if you're not willing to study and read and have headaches, You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have headaches trying to figure a lot of this stuff out because they trick you with the language.
Yeah.
You know, once you start getting your fourth Black Law Dictionary, third Black Law Dictionary, and you go to seeing how they using German language, French, Latin, English, Spanish, you're like, well, damn. When you're learning law terms, you're learning different languages. And that's just what it is. That's why we have to study the etymology and linguistics.
Straight up. Speaking about that, we'll put this one out there right now. The book is called Black and Slave. Black and Slave. The Origins of the Curse of Ham.
You said the origin of the curse of Ham?
Yeah.
Noah's son? Or
Yeah.
Noah's son? Oh, okay.
Right. Similarly, let me just double check something here. Oh yeah, no, it's up here.
Well, why you looking at that, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them the citation of Dred Scott. Dred Scott versus Sanford.
Good, Mark.
This is the citation. Dred Scott versus Sanford, 60 U.S. 393 1857. Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to in that when you pull that case up is number 4. We specifically read, and I read verbatim, that a free Negro of the African race whose ancestors was brought to this country and sold as slaves is not a citizen within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States.
Start again. Oh. Say that last part again. They blocked you out.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. Start from the top. A free Negro. You see that? A Negro, not a Moor, a Negro. A free Negro of the African race. What part of Africa? First of all, so that means anywhere. Whose ancestors was brought to this country and sold as slaves. Us Moors was not brought to this country and sold as slaves. If you're claiming to be Aboriginal and Indigenous. If you don't know what those 2 words mean, then you need to do a little bit more research and study. And sold as slaves, we was not sold as slaves, we was prisoners of war because we was fighting them to get off our land, which is what we need to be doing now, is not a citizen within the meaning of the Constitution of the United States, which means that you cannot enforce any of those constitutional rights because you're not a citizen. Remind you, the United States means the United people. So if you're a free Negro and you're not a citizen of the United States, I mean, you're not a person of the United States. You're not a person. Go right back to chattel. You're right back to property. And then I'm gonna look through that real quick so I can give you that citing where it stipulates and says that in this case law. I just gotta find it real quick. Oh,
it's all good. You good? You're straight, more. Do your thing.
Yeah, cause I got it printed out.
Yeah, while you're looking for that, let me just put this.
So it's 128 pages.
Yeah, let me put this out there while you're looking for that. The Arabic word Sudan, singular Aswad, which literally means blacks, can indicate a variety of dark-skinned people, usually, but not exclusively from Africa. Negro and black, found in the late medieval and early modern European literature, also cannot always be identified with a specific ethnic group or geographic location. Rather, the terms indicate color, and that color encompasses a range of dark skin, including dark brown to medium brown. Although Negro and black usually referred to black Africans, they were also used to describe the natives of the New World, East Indians, and others. Even when referring to black Africans, the terms were used to describe very conceivable combination of Central African, Ibero-African, Afro-Arabic, and American African mixtures. Black and slave. So with Noble Drew Ali telling us that we're not.
In other words, now this is.
Go ahead, Mar. Go ahead.
No. Finish your statement. I thought you was done. Go ahead. I'm just gonna piggyback on what you were saying.
I was just gonna say, well, one, we don't piggyback. We camelback, donkey back, or whatever. We leave those pigs alone.
All right, correct. I said correct.
and Noble Drew Ali.
I'm a camelback.
Noble Drew Ali telling us that we're not Negro, black, colored. Him saying those things was for the specific reason of him knowing that all those things were tied together. All those brand names were having the same purpose. Putting you back in mental slavery. As soon as you put black, you just put yourself in mental slavery, which is what we were watching earlier on IG Live when we watched the old Tajas in the battlefield. And he was talking about the people under such indoctrination now hex their self. They're saying the words themselves that's putting them in the servitude position that they're marching and complaining about. And then they think remedy comes from them voting some European or some Asiatic on a stage with a donkey or elephant or a red, blue or a orange sign or whatever, and they think that they're part of that has nothing to do with them. And they're supposed to be really doing what the Moors are doing, getting amongst ourselves, sorting this mess out, and implementing strategies so that this doesn't happen ever again to our people. But that's why Drew said I came for the young and unborn, because he knows old people are lazy. They aren't going to do jack. So give it to the young while they have energy, so they could do something with this.
Now, on that issue there, right? Well, let's go into the civil rights things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm in Florida, so if you don't know that every state has their own constitution because they own sovereign power, but they're united so that the federal government supersedes the state, but the state has the right to implement their own laws. That's why if you are in Florida and you go to New York, or you're in New York and you go to Georgia, or you're in Cali, you go to Texas, the every state law is kind of different. So I'm in Florida, and in Florida, Constitution Article 1 that all natural persons, female and male alike, are equal before the law and have inalienable rights. Now, the word inalienable means not transferable or assignable. Mm-hmm. Fundamental rights, including the right to practice religion, freedom of speech, due process, and equal protection of the law that cannot be transferred to another nor surrendered except by the person possessing them. See Bill of Rights. Now, if you don't know what the Bill of Rights are, those are the 10 amendments to the Constitution, which Dred Scott just said that if you are descendants of African slaves, you are not a citizen, not entitled to those rights. So when you go right back into civil rights, I'm reading from the Dred Scott case. In other words, the status of slavery embraces every condition, from that in which the slave is known to the law simply as chattel, or in other words, property, cattle, with no civil rights, to that in which he is recognized as a person for all purpose. Now, if you want me to say that in more layman terms or more street terminology, you call yourself African American, Black, Negro, colored, Indian, Puerto Rican, Puerto Rican, Cuban, Guyana, whatever descendant Bahamian you think you are, you just push yourself under that misnomer saying I'm not a person. I am not entitled to any of my civil rights that are protected and secured in the Constitution. That's all you just said. So when you walk around here screaming Black Lives Matter, you just said I'm property. I don't matter. I don't have no rights. And that's Dred's case. I did that subsection 625, 624 through 625. So what you would do is you would type in Dred Scott versus Sanford, comma 60 U.S. 624 through 625. year 1857, you'll bring that subsection right up. So one thing I can say about our movement is that we'll give you reference points. If a person don't give you reference points, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, because now you're speaking off of emotions.
Exactly.
What I just gave you here, Allah gave me to give to you. What Allah just gave us here is reference points that you can go and look at yourself. I didn't write none of this. This was done this year, 1857. I wasn't born to 85 of 1900s. This is 1857. So this case is over 100 and almost 30 years older than me. It's almost 200 years old. And we're still seeing the same things back then that we're seeing now. When you put yourself under that status, because it's all about status, white is not a skin color, it's a status. Black is not a skin color, it's a status. We already know with common sense, we're different shades of brown. We're not black. And all in your, any of us that does etymology, we know that black is Germanic for pale. We know that, so we're not black. So I don't know why it's so difficult to believe that we're not black. You're more. You're a Muslim. You're a nation of people. In the Quran, even tell you, I will make you a great nation. I will make you a people. When you say you're more, you say you're Muslim. I don't understand the concept. How people could just mix that up. Only thing I could fathom is that we don't study, bro.
Or like Taj says, the sorcerers did a good job. The sorcerers did a good job on our people. Now, when you're talking about the state too, I want to put this out there. So when you were talking about the states, we're always in Morocco. We're always in Morocco. Because when we go from that perspective with the state constitution, you're gonna get yourself caught in the jurisdiction again. So this is corporate conception of the state and the origins of limited constitutional government. The corporation at common law, origins of the state as corporation. One need not dig very deeply into Blackstone's commentaries to find a connection between the corporation and the state. Blackstone's note that there are two types of legal persons at common law, natural and artificial. Artificial persons are referred to equivocally as bodies, politic bodies, corporate, corpora, corporata, or corporations. Blackstone classifies everything from the kingdom to the groups chartered for the advancement of commerce as corporations, exemplifying political constitutions. Whatever the end of the particular corporation, all are bodies politic, created and devised by human laws for the purpose of society and government. Blackstone also teaches that the king exemplifies both types of legal personhood. He is both a natural person as a man and yet also a corporate person as a head of the body politic of the kingdom. Before Blackstone, Dr. John Crowell, interpreter and 17th century dictionary of legal terms, stated plainly that the king is a corporation in himself. So this is all these people who package seller guys that want to say that they're the king of whatever, but they're telling you that they're private and all this. They're not private, they're a corpse. And then you being part of that, they're bringing you into their king dumb because you're dumb. Because you have an empire, but you want to follow some clown who thinks they know what this is about. This is about nationality and birthrights. This is not about corporate games. This is not about having 500 different LLCs because they did that, so you can do that and free yourself in the. That's not what this is about. This is about your birthrights and standing on your square. It's not about any games. This is not about any type of squeeze room, wiggle room for them to get out of the stuff that they've been doing for the past however hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. Because it's time that the pendulum swing in the other direction. How's the pendulum just on one side forever?
Also, like I was saying earlier, the Res Publica versus Swears. That is spelled RESPUBLICA. That's another way of saying republic. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Every time they got you again. You're always fighting Moors. Holy smokes. Because trust me, I was dealing with the Moor earlier and there was no issues on the thing. There was no problem. Not even with this, like even off this. Spoke, nothing, no problem. While that gets sorted out. Also wanted to yes. We also wanted to show you how the program against the Moors is real. Program against the Moors is real. And you have to look at the parallels to realize what's going on. This is jerrylewisbay.com. Whenever the powers that be wish to curtail a period of societal decline and or radical change, they designate a particular individual or organization as the embodiment of all that society fears. Throughout history, such tactics have been employed to criminalize and persecute many of our most revered leaders. El-Hajj Malik el-Shabazz, Larry Hoover Bey, and the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense have all undergone various levels of character assassination at the hands of the news media and the U.S. legal system. That kind of propaganda creates an impenetrable subterfuge through which the true character and accomplishments of these men become obscured, in some cases completely hidden. Many people believe Jerry Lewis Bey is such a man. Jerry Lewis Bey, Grand Sheik of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In the 1970s, he was known as a major drug dealer. He served time in prison, was introduced to Islamic faith as taught through the teachings of the Moorish Science Temple. In April 78, he was paroled. October 79, legally incorporated Moorish Science Temple of America in Missouri. With his religious conversion, decided to leave the drug underworld. Lewis Bey established political ties to U.S. Congressman William Clay of Missouri, Mayor Vincent Shomo of St. Louis, U.S. Senator Christopher Dodds of Connecticut, Mayor Harold Washington of Chicago, Mayor Johnny Ford of Alabama, Mayor Thurman Milner of Hartford, Connecticut, Mayor Marion Berry of Washington, D.C., Mayor Kenneth Gibson of Newark, New Jersey, Mayor John Riley of Opa-locka, Florida, Prime Minister Lyndon O. Pinning of the Bahamas, U.S. Ambassador to Morocco David Robbins, Morocco Ambassador to the U.S. Mati Jorio, Morocco Minister of State Mouli Ahmed Aloui, and His Majesty King Hassan II of the North African Kingdom of Morocco. Now, that alone should have people stop questioning, do these people know who the Moors are? That alone should have the people questioning, do they know who the Moors are? There's no way that they don't know who the Moors are.
Hey, Kuja, let me ask you a question real quick, right? Just throw this out there.
Go ahead.
When we see the Shriners wear fezes that are tied down, and Daughters of Revolution and Daughters of ISIS, and all these people in the parade with fezes tied down with signs on them, why do people look at us crazy when we wear our fezes?
Right?
I'm just saying, because it's baffling, right? Because I stay in Miami. So it's a lot of what we call Arabics, a lot of Arabics that own the corner stores, or some people call them bodegas. We just call them the corner store, the store, whatever the case may be. That means it's a store that's in your neighborhood that it serves as a grocery store, but it's it's a convenience store with no gas station, nothing. It's just you go in there, milk, cheese, sandwiches, whatever the case may be. So it's predominantly in what they call, quote unquote, lack of better words, black communities. So as everybody walks in there, the guy, he looking at everybody, you know, it's whatever, whatever. When I walk in there with my fez, first thing he do, he greets me. How you doing, brother? Anybody else walk in there, it's like, yeah, whatever. He say, how you doing today? You need anything? Can I get you anything? I say, no, I'm good. I was buying me some shellfish, what we call conch down here. It's conch, but it's a shellfish.
Yeah.
No. Your money no good here. You don't pay. You need anything, you come here. Because I had my fez on. I swear to Allah. So that's people know. We just don't know who we are.
Yeah. Now, you have any more? If you got some more about the experience of wearing the fez or whatever, you could put those out too.
Okay. That's another thing. You also got to realize when you're wearing that fez, you're looked at as a superior. You're looked at as a Muslim. So that means you have to watch your character because you hold up to a higher standards once you wear that fez. My ex-brother-in-law, he was a traveling man or what they call a Mason. So I'm kind of new to it, whatever the case may be. I had my fez on. You know, us being Muslims, we're not supposed to drink, being Moorish, because it changed your character and make you a very, what's the word I'm looking for? Obnoxious individual if you drink too much and don't know how to handle your liquor. Right. So anyway, I had my fez on at the time. You know, I'm new to it, and I was drinking a little bit. He's like, man, you're not supposed to be drinking XYZ 1, 2, 3. You can't be wearing that and be drinking. At the time, remember, I told you I'm ignorant to it. I didn't know. I like, what you mean, man? I was like, man, I don't, you know, I'm saying, you know, trying to stand on my little square, whatever the case may be, as of what I thought of at the time. But he was explaining my moral character wasn't reflecting what that fez represented. Right. At that time. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know, I hold no obligation, nothing. My fez ain't tied down, you know, I'm spitting up, you know, the whole nine, like I know what I'm talking about. But it took me a while to really understand when I got back into Islam, like I'm back on my deen, I understand what he was saying. Your moral, when you have that fez on, you're hold to a higher standard. You are law because you're enforcing the supreme law. And the supreme law is what is Allah tell us what to do and what not to do. You supposed to stand on that. That is your square. Mm-hmm. That's why you go right back to say, I self-law am master, because you supposed to know the law in yourself and you supposed to portray that and show that to everyone else. This is the mighty creator law. And I'm representing that. And then when I wear this fez, I'm superior, and you must respect me as such because I'm reflecting the Most High.
Islam.
So that's why when you go in the courtroom, they know, because you gotta understand that these people that have with doctor degrees and lawyer degrees and judges and all that, they have PhD degrees. So they have to write books, and I forgot what they call a thesis. You know, they study etymology. They and most of them are part of the Masonics or Shriners or Eastern Stars. All of them are part of this. This supposed to be high science. Well, our science. I ain't gonna say supposed to be high science. Excuse me. They know our science. We just don't know our science. So when you come in, you're representing that. They expect you to know who you are. So when you wear that, you must know that they know who you are, and they're going to test you. They want to see if you know who you are, because they're like, how do you know that? You're from whatever project that you're from. You don't have a college degree. You're this. You're a criminal. You're a fool. You're this. You're that, and third. They're going to degrade you anyway, because you got to understand that they're stealing from us. They've been stealing from us. They're trying to take our land. The most richest land in the world is yours. So that's why they keep trying to say you're not from here. So you just got to be very mindful when you wearing your turban, when you wearing your fezzes, when you out there and walking about and conducting your business, conduct yourself accordingly, because people are looking at you. The nation is looking at you. The world is looking at you. So conduct yourself accordingly. That's why on the news they always portray us as, like I say, very vengeful and negative people. That's why they only show negativity about people on the news. Every blue moon, you might get one or two individuals that may portray a good image, but you gotta understand they gotta throw a couple of puppets out there to keep you fooled. You know, dang a little carrot out there in front of you so you can follow them. But most of the time, they only show negativity about our people. You think that's coincidence? That's by design. That's why I don't even watch the news no more. It's never nothing positive.
Never.
It's never nothing positive. I got another tip for y'all. If you want to learn anything about the United States, watch international news, because nobody's going to tell on themselves, but they're telling everybody else. So if you want to watch about America, watch European news or watch the British news. They're going to tell you about America.
Ain't that the truth?
Ain't nobody gonna tell on themselves.
Louis Bay and 14 others were indicted under Federal Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organization Act. He was convicted in a trial with no direct evidence against him and received a life sentence, even though he maintains his innocence to this day. He states he is a political prisoner. He wrote his autobiography, Government's Target or Gangster, in 2007. March conversion to Moorish Science Temple of America. On September 3rd, 1977, Jerry Lewis joined the Moorish Science Temple of America while at FCI Milan, introduced by George Walton Bay of Detroit, Michigan. He takes on the name of Jerry Lewis Bay. Moorish Science Temple of America introduced to St. Louis, Missouri. 79, legally incorporated, begins holding worship services at St. Louis City Jail, Workhouse, and other state prison facilities. Task Force investigation opens. On authorization from the U.S. Justice Department, our Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force investigation was opened on May 23, 1983 on Jerry Lewis Bay and the Moorish Science Temple of America in St. Louis, Missouri. On April 18, 1984, Bay and other leaders of the MSTA attended the 10th anniversary of the National Conferences of Mayors in St. Louis. On January 8, 1985, Bay received a proclamation from the mayor of St. Louis, Vincent Schomel. On January 25th, Bay traveled and was presented with a proclamation from Mayor Kenneth Gibson of Newark, New Jersey. On April 85, Bay traveled and received a proclamation from Mayor Thurman Milner of Hartford, Connecticut. Bay traveled to Washington to receive a resolution from the National Conference of Mayors honoring Noble Drew Ali. This resolution signed by Washington, D.C. Mayor Marion Barry. On January 30th, 1985, Bay traveled to Opa-locka, Florida to receive a proclamation from Mayor John Riley. On December 6, 85, Bay traveled to Chicago and received a proclamation from Mayor Harold Washington of Chicago. Task Force investigation closed. The Organized Crime Drug Enforcement Task Force opened the case May 23, 1983 on Jerry Lewis Bay, and the Moorish Science Temple of America was officially closed by the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives on April 7, 1987, without any arrest or indictments during the 4-year investigation. On May 20, 1987, the Federal Bureau of Investigation closed this portion of the files. International travel and meeting world leaders. Mid-August 1985, Bay and a delegation of Moors attended the World Convention of Mayors held in Paradise Islands, Bahamas. On August 20th, Bay led an official delegation of Moorish Americans from St. Louis to the Royal Kingdom of Morocco during a 2-week visit. In March 1990, Bay led another delegation of Moorish Americans to Morocco, and the Moorish Science Temple of St. Louis presented with a resolution. The resolution was received by the King of Morocco's second-in-command, Mouli Ahmed Aloui, who served as the Minister of State and a cousin of King Hassan II. Islam, or you have any interjections? Any thoughts?
No, I'm just listening to what you. I'm just listening to you speak a little knowledge, but I do got one thing. That's the Dred Scott case. I love the Dred Scott case.
Yeah.
If the Constitution, all right, this is ID at 628. It says that if the Constitution prescribes one rule and a law another and different rule, it is the duty of the courts to declare that the Constitution and not the law governs the case before them for judgment. Supreme law of the land. Stand on your constitutional rights. If you don't know your rights, you don't have any. What more need to be said? Proclaim your nationality, so you're a human being with inalienable rights, and enforce your inalienable rights that are secured in the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yeah.
This movement is not a get out of jail free card. This is not I could do whatever I want. No, because you still understand you're still under divine law, which means that love your brother like you would love thyself. You do that, you won't have to worry about getting in no trouble. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, it will be times where they try to enforce their policies on you. Yes, that will occur. Well, I'm not going to debate that. And there's going to be issues where you're going to have to stand on your square. But I would at least say 75% of the time, you won't have no problem. Because if I love my brother like I love myself, I will feed my brother. I will house my brother. I will give to my brother as much as I can without it hurting me. And those are the same principles in these secret fraternities that they live by, which is nothing but Islam, which is nothing but Moorish science, Islamic science, Muslim science. That's all it is, man. You can't think, I could go rob somebody and proclaim my nationality and I'm going to get out of jail. No, because you just violated divine law, fundamental rights. You just the natural law. You just hurt somebody. You cause injury. You cause loss. The universe is going to make you pay back for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you also, that's why it go right back to when you in this movement, you have to be upright. When you wear your fez, you must understand that I don't want to say in that aspect, but it's like, yeah, you are a representation of the Almighty High. So you have to address yourself accordingly and such. And that doesn't mean everybody's going to respect you and love you for that. But right now to this day, a lot of us don't even love and respect our Lord to the point where we know we do wrong and we still go to him and he shows us forgiveness. So we also have to be forgiven as well. This is a divine movement and you have to be divine and in tune with the mighty creator. No matter what name you give him, Elohim, Yahweh, Jehovah, Allah, God, universe, whatever terminology you want to put on that, Mother Nature is still one divine being, the mighty creator. And you must be in tune with that. That's why you have to have the divine side of it as well. And a lot of people don't teach that. They don't teach. They just try to make it seem like it's just religion. No, it's also politics. It's also civics. It's also law. It's also economic. It's also commerce. It's also trade, family. It's also educating. Each one teach one. All those, that's why it's 360 degrees of knowledge, not just 33. You're not tied down just to learn one thing. You must know a little bit and everything, a master of everything, jack of all trades. In so many words.
Yeah. Right and exact. Right and exact.
So when you get into this movement, you have to look yourself in the mirror and feel in your heart, is you ready for this? Because it's going to be challenging. And you already know anytime you're trying to do something positive, something negative always going to come. It's laws of attraction. If you do negative things, positive things are going to try to come. But you're going to deny those because you're so used to being blindfolded with negativity. Same thing with positivity. You're going to be so much trying to do positive things that negativity is going to try to hinder you from positivity. Just the laws of nature. That's why we must study nature. Even the great creators say, you know that I'm real, look at nature. Look at the universe. Look at the laws of attraction. Look at the laws of the universe.
Yeah.
There's nothing on this planet that doesn't serve a purpose. I'm just saying. That's why everything is in pairs.
Yep.
Self-sufficient.
The law of nature doesn't lie to you.
Self-sufficient I think is the key word. We must be self-sufficient. Stop relying on others to do things for us. Get out and do it yourself.
Straight up.
It's just that simple. Like I quote Tupac. You know, let's gotta start looking at each other as brothers instead of two distant strangers. And that's the way it's supposed to be. I can't have brother kill a brother who was close to me. I love to go back to when we played as kids, but things has changed. That's just the way it is. So we have to change it back to the way it was. Because as kids, man, you could not know each other from a can of paint. We're gonna go on that playground, we're gonna play basketball, we're gonna slide and we're gonna have the best of time. But now, person I grow up with, we're enemies. That's absurd. You been my next door for 20 years and now I want to kill you for no damn reason.
Yeah, there's something's been lost in there. Something's been lost. Because same thing like you're saying. I mean, even in our generation, there was that element of those guys over there and us over here, and we're against each other. And we didn't even know why.
No reason.
There was no reason that was put forth why there's a situation between these two areas.
Unless you want to go back into the Willie Lynch, that's probably just been inscribed into our DNA. Us against you, field nigga against house nigga, mulatto against dark skin. I don't know. I can't fathom it, but it just, we have so much hate amongst one another, man, that even when we try to do something positive, once again, negativity, oh, you a dirty Moor. Okay, maybe he did something wrong because he didn't have a full understanding of what he was doing. Sometimes you got to be forgiving. Or maybe that wasn't his intentions. I had to learn that too. Sometimes it doesn't be a person's intentions, the outcome. Sometimes he maybe didn't know that if he said X, Y, Z, that was going to happen. Maybe he did it unconsciously. You know, you got to take the hatred out your heart, man.
Right.
We could sit here. Go ahead, bro.
No, I was gonna say, and on top of that too, you also can't be naive to, you know what I mean, getting taken advantage of either.
True. I agree with you tenfold.
You know, it's and it goes back to that thing that we're talking about, that, you know, there's gonna be balance.
Right. It's gonna be balanced. It's gonna balance your way. It's gonna balance itself out either if you want it to or if you don't want it to.
It's gonna balance out. You have no choice in the matter.
Even with this predicament right here with Floyd, some people agree with what they're doing, some people disagree, but you understand it's still balanced. How can you depress or oppress somebody for hundreds of years and don't think they're gonna rebel? That's the whole reason of the Declaration of Independence, because the people was getting oppressed by the King of Britain, so they rebelled. And that's how the United States of America was formed. Well, that's what the history books say. I'm sure it was more into that, but the basis of it, we ain't want to be oppressed no more. That's why So how can you expect that same thing to keep occurring and don't be a rebel? Come on, now you supposed to. If you read the Declaration of Independence, it specifically tells you that. If the government or the governors or the rulers who's going to replace the government? Well, are we going to put other Albions or other foreigners to govern us, or are we going to govern ourselves? How you going to be able to run a nation of people if you can't even run your household? You can't even get along with your baby mama.
Yep.
how you gonna run a whole nation if you can't even humble yourself and be like, you know what, you got that, baby, you right.
Mm-hmm.
How you gonna be able to govern this if we can't sit down and have a conversation without yelling and screaming and calling each other names because a person did something that you didn't agree with? But did you ever try to understand why that person did that? And until you able to start with self and be like, you know what? Like when I first started talking with you, bro, I can't just, I'm coming as a student.
Yeah.
I'm gonna humble myself and come and be studious. I got to learn. I might know something, but I don't know everything.
Straight up.
So you have to, it start with humbling ourselves, man. And it took me a long time to understand that. Self-analyzation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to analyze self, man. And until you're ready to come in terms with self and humble thyself and love, joy, peace, freedom, and justice, until you're able to live on those 5 principles, you're not ready for this movement.
Yeah.
You know, me and you can sit here, we can give you all the case law, we can give you every United States codes, UCC, we can give you all the law we can. But until you're not divinely right, it's not going to serve you no justice. It's not going to do anything for you. It's just going to do nothing but make you sound articulate, but you're going to be hollow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you sound good, but you have no depth. No depth.
Right.
Yeah, that's just where it at. Like I say, I can go in the courtroom and argue and scream and do whatever I can do to say you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing this, you're doing that. Fine. Yeah. I might get remedy, I might not. But at the end of the day, who did I help? What lessons did I learn? Who did I teach something different to? Because when you open your mouth, you're not setting yourself free. You're letting everybody around you, you're putting everybody else on game. You're held to a higher standard. That's why you must conduct yourself accordingly. Because you're being looked up as an example. All Moors. I'm just saying me. All Moors are examples for the rest of the people. You are an example of the nation for everyone to be like because you're a Muslim.
Right.
Muslim. Moors.
Right.
You are what people say, oh, those are Moors, those good guys. They feed the poor. They go out and help each other. They're people.
The humanitarian work. Yeah, doing the humanitarian work.
The humanitarian, exactly. Niggas and blacks ain't that. They not that. Niggas is not that. Even though we get accustomed to saying that terminology, man, niggly is being stingy. So when I say you're a nigga, you being stingy, even with if it's something materialistic, if it's something physical, spiritual. When I say you a nigga, you're being stingy. Not just being ignorant. You're being stingy with your love. You're being stingy with justice. You're being stingy with peace. You're being stingy with truth. Niggerly means stingy. That go right back to reading.
Straight up.
So that's where I'm at right now with the movement. Like I said, y'all can hit me up on c.w.bay, Instagram. You know, I give you my phone number. We can talk about any and everything. If I don't know, we can call Big Brother Cujo. We'll get in contact with somebody. But one thing is for certain, 2 things for sure. We as a people have to come together and put aside our difference over minute stupidity. Yep. And we also got to understand you have been duped, you haven't had, you know, the colonists has tried us with their chicanery and has fooled us. Now it's time to take them those blinders off and see the truth and work towards that. Right. And until we be self-sufficient and have our own community, become our own Tulsa, you know, have our own stores, our own farmland, our own apartments, our own communities, we're never going to accomplish anything. We have to come together as a people, first of all. And until we can establish at least a small community, I don't care if it's 1 block, in every county, every state, every city, until we can get our own part of a city, like these quote unquote fake Indians do. How they got their own part of land that you can't come over with their own police. So they got it down here in Hollywood, Florida, where I'm at. Yeah. The Seminoles. You know, they got the gaming, gambling.
Yeah,
You
the
can't come there.
casino.
They got their own police.
Yeah,
Huh?
with the casino.
Yeah, you know, right. With the casino, they generate their own revenue, giving jobs to their people. Their people ain't got to go and ask a white man, we need a job. Come work at the casino. Come work at the restaurant. Come be a pool boy. Come drive the bus. Come do this. Come do that. Okay, we need police for our community. Okay, and like me and you, if hypothetically speaking, if you got a situation with your fiance, y'all getting an argument, the case may be, and we brothers, we in the same community, and I'm a police officer. Oh, Cujo, man, come on, man, come get in the car, come take a ride with me, man. Y'all just in a heated discussion.
Right.
But if I'm an outsider colonist, man, I'm taking you to jail because guess what? I'm beating my quarter so I can get my raise. I don't care what you got going on. You ain't my people.
Straight up.
You is not finna go in that quote unquote tribal land and think you finna act a donkey and them people ain't finna take care of you. They gonna handle you accordingly as such. We don't own nothing, so when we go into other people's venues and get handled according to such.
Yeah.
The truth hurts.
It better.
But it's a healing pill though.
It better. It better hurt.
Each one teach one, man. So you have to proclaim nationality. Back to the lesson at hand. You have to proclaim your nationality to say you are a person, first of all. A human, natural flesh and blood being. Until then, you're saying your property. Keep calling yourself Black, African American, Negro, color, whatever terminology, Indian, Puerto Rican, Dominican, Bahamian, whatever. You're saying your property. You do not come under the constitutional fold of government and you have no rights. I can take away your rights and give you rights because you're mine. You keep on, like people keep preaching this. You keep on with those European last names saying you want equality. You're saying I'm your property because we always understood that anytime a people conquer the land, they put their surname on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of Davises. Davises is Dutch. So how you're African with a Dutch name? Dutchman name.
Facts.
Jones. You know what I'm saying? So first, you have to just understand the concept of it. Yeah, it might sound difficult, but it's really simple. It's so simple till you make it difficult.
That's what it is. That's what it is. The people make it more difficult than it is.
But you also got to remember, big brother, you heard me that. Be careful more. Some of your own brothers wearing fezzes and turbans will put you back in slavery. And that's what naturalization is, putting you back in slavery. Not national, N-A-T-I-O-N, natural, N-A-U-T-R-A-L. Naturalization. When you can understand those two concepts, then you'll know what more is for you and what more against you. Who have hidden agendas, ulterior motives, who gonna gain financially off of you. So those are the two key point words that I would say you need to give a good understanding of: naturalization and nationalization. Islam, big bro. Anything else you want me to comment on?
No more. We good. We're good, yo. We're good. But we'll definitely I'm gonna hit up those people. I got the email with the thing, so I'll get that stuff sent and we'll go from there.
I know you will, big bro. Islam, man. Like I say, people start with self, man. Then we gotta link up and we gotta meet up together, man. Cause we can't keep saying, "Oh, we're not ready. We're not ready. We need to establish consular court. We need to do this. Well, when we gonna stop needing to do it and just damn do it?
Just do it. that is yet to be seen. That's yet to be seen.
When we gonna do it? Like I want to just emphasize back on what Jamal said. Why don't everybody trust somebody? I would say either Jamal or Cujo. We set up a PayPal. Everybody chip in $1, 50 cents, PayPal, whatever, and we find us a building. And we make our own international university. That way we ain't got to go to their college. Like how Oxford, we made Oxford. A lot of people don't know that. Oxford was made by Moors.
Yeah.
We started that. Cairo, Moors. So why don't we chip it and then we get our own studious people and they can come to our school and learn their true history and become doctors and lawyers and politicians and scientists and whatever else we could be.
Mm-hmm.
$1, what's $1, man? We spend hundreds of dollars on things. You know what I mean? Pair of Jordans out on board that I don't do nothing but win for about a month or two and then go play ball in them and mess them up and rip them up. I'm just saying. or how we buy all this money on clothes, $400-500 on a shirt, pair of jeans, wear it for 2 or 3 months and get rid of it, and then be a waste. What's $1?
Yeah.
We got to start loving and trusting each other, man. If not, we're never going to come. So we're going to be marching and saying no justice, no peace for the next 100 years.
Another 600 years of marching.
Exactly. And what has that accomplished?
Straight up.
So, you know what, man? Love y'all. Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Love to the praise to the most high. Self-analyzation. You know what I'm saying? Analyze yourself. Self-support. Start waiting on other people to give it to you. Take responsibility of your own actions. Start with a pure heart. And continue to study. Study. And once you feel like you have studied enough, study thyself.
Islam.
Islam, more.
Peace, more. Give thanks again. We'll build soon.
All praise to the Most High. Love, bro.
Peace,
We'll link up later.
Yeah, for sure.
Yo.
Peace.
Peace.
You know, just doing what we do. There's something else I was gonna have to play, but I don't know where it went. Don't forget, MHHS Blog Talk Radio. blogtalkradio.com 563-999-3403 563-999-3403 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Honors to all the mothers worldwide. Peace and love to all the Moors. Peace and love to all the Moors. I'll just close with these ones.
If you don't know the component parts in both its spiritual and political interchange activity, which is what comprises nationality in your relationship of belonging to a nation, then you say nationality and you start operating, going out into the world, you need to be made aware by someone who does know, because the European is not going to tell you that nationality, you're nationalized once you're conscious of who you are. But saying who you are and being who you are, they're two different things. But in the real world, when you make a mistake, your guard was down, you just got punched. People go out in the movement and they get frustrated with the wrongs or the disorders that are amongst us, rather than work to fix them and work for unity. They want to ignore their political body or even do things to help fix it. Go to the temple. You need to know that that's still your organization. It don't mean that you're going to stay in some temple where they're all disrupted, but you don't deny the temple is still your institution. You're not willing to deal with fixing your own, but you want to fix these documents to fix the European who's in possession of your birthright. That's a conflict of interest and a conflict of law. If you didn't know it, he does. He ain't going to tell you. The remedies, the medicine that we need is right there. But we let other people distract us, and then also not go into studies. Left-handed gold feather Moors. He ain't made no contract with them. And if you pay attention to a lot of Moors, they busy trying to find quote-unquote European-made Indian names to be that of the Moors, just so they don't just be Moors. And they're trying to hold them to some kind of obligation. European laughing because they know they don't understand. And he's safe. This is what Senator Barry was talking about in 1834, before the House of Representatives, delegates in Virginia. And as long as they can keep us from the light, they're safe. And then Noble Drawley came, opened up the way, and rather than, because they don't want to give him credit for the great work he did, and they don't want to acknowledge that he's a prophet, they keep on trying to get around that. He never said worship him. He said listen to the word. Carry out what I said. Gave you what you need to save yourselves. Now go out and redeem your people. And what happens? People get this wisdom, right? And then they start following the pattern of the church. They see the opportunity to be important to their people rather than try to raise their people. So they start making positions for themselves, self-assigned titles, and, you know, and then start raping their people, you know, and then to the people, you know, figuring them out, then they start new clubs. And before you know, they're divided against each other just the way the Europeans set it up. Which caused our fall in the first place, that divisionism. What? Not trying to get the benefit of the nation without being aligned to the nation. And that's what our problem is, politically.